Hi guys, Dan here again, and today we're going to show you the sign of the Exodus and the first Passover of the children of Israel. Now this sign is super important. I would put it up probably on the top three signs, four signs that we're doing in the Heavens Declare series. The first important sign was Noah, because it had 3 dates, and essentially that gives us an anchor date for the rest of the Bible. Once you have Noah, you can literally add up the genealogies and the years that the Bible tells you, and get to the other dates in the Bible real easily. The other anchor date is the Exodus. And again, this is super important because a lot of people claim that the Exodus never happened. There's no evidence of the Exodus, which is totally false, but some people claim that. And also, it's important because it's the second anchor date in the Bible, and specifically the Old Testament. Noah being the first and most important because it's the first one, and the Exodus as well, because this gives us a definite date as to when the children of Israel left Egypt, bondage in Egypt. Now we're going to go here, and the date is -1288 BC, or astronomical date, and we're in the first month on the 19th. And as you can see, Jupiter had just about entered Aquarius. Now what's interesting is that often when God is pouring out His wrath in some form or the other, like Noah, the flood, and the Exodus, Jupiter enters the Aquarius sign as he pours out his wrath upon the Egyptians. So here we see this sign happening again. Now in Noah, Jupiter was in retrograde motion back and forth for close to a year. But here the Exodus didn't take that long. And as you can see, I'm going to actually take some of these lines away so you can see a little bit better. Jupiter is in Aquarius, and it starts to line up with Mars right on the 23rd. Now, why is that important? Mars is the symbol of war. Okay, historically, mythologically, symbolically, Mars has always, for thousands and thousands of years, always been the symbol of war. The Greeks believed it was a god. Mars was the Greek and Romans, believed that Mars was a god of war. But traditionally, the red planet has also been known as the war planet. And so here, Jupiter and Mars start to conjoin and form a conjunction here. And exactly on the 23rd, the King Jupiter is at war, pouring out his wrath on the Egyptians. Now, why is this important? Because the Bible tells us that there were 10 plagues in Egypt. And I often wondered, how long were these plagues? And, well, now, thanks to Stellarium, we can tell how long this Jupiter was in Aquarius, and it was in there a total of 11 weeks. Now, I just said that there was 10 plagues of Egypt, so essentially, this was in here for 10 weeks before it hit the water part. Now, I'm going to explain this separately here. But as we go day by day, okay, I'm going to take this day by day. Jupiter is pouring out his wrath in Aquarius. Okay, now as you can see, right around the 3rd, he gets close to the water. Okay, and just at 3:30, he's still in the water. But I want to show you something else that's very, very, very important here. Okay? 330 was the first Passover. Okay? If you remember, the last plague in Egypt was the slaughter of the firstborn, where God took the firstborn of every child in Egypt and every animal, and the angel of death came and slew the firstborn. Now, this is really important because God told the Israelites to put blood over their doorposts so that they would be protected from the angel of death. They were supposed to put it on top and on the sides of both of their doorposts to be protected. And that was the first Passover. And God said that that would be the first of the year for them. Okay? So, now we're going to go here and we're going to scroll a little bit here. And we're going to go to... let's see if we can find it here. We're going to go to the Aries. Now, if you remember from the offering of Isaac, this was very, very, very important here. Because look what happens. Okay, early in the morning, okay, the night before, 3:29, sometime after midnight, the earth started again creeping towards the sun, essentially eclipsing it. Now, our view is from the heavens again, so this is what God is seeing, the earth going into the sun, causing a blood moon again, right under Aries. And right at 6 in the morning, okay, which is essentially when the Bible tells us that that the firstborn was slain at midnight. Now you got to remember that the Jewish midnight starts at 6 in the morning. Okay, this is important because it's not our midnight. Okay, when we traditionally think of midnight, we think of 12 o'clock, but in the Jewish calendar, midnight starts at sunrise. Okay, so just like our day, our new day starts at 12 midnight, their new day starts at 6 in the morning. And that's exactly when the angel of death came. And as you can see here, it was here at 5 in the morning, and at 6 in the morning, it totally eclipsed once again under Aries. Again, this is a very important symbol. Very close to the date of Abraham. This was 3:29, and Abraham was 3:30. So again, keep these dates in mind as we go later on towards the crucifixion. These dates are going to be very, very important. But once again, from God's perspective, the earth was black. The sin of the earth was covering the sun, and this is what God saw. Now, why is this important? Because so far, we've had 10 weeks where Jupiter was in Aquarius pouring out his wrath. At the end of the 10th week, we have the Passover, the first Passover, the last plague, where the earth is right under the feet of Aries, just like it was in the offering of Isaac. And as you'll see later on in other videos, the crucifixion of the Lord was at the same thing happened. Now, it doesn't end here. There's actually one more week of wrath as we go back, and we're going to go back to Aquarius here. We can see that Jupiter is still in there. Now, why is he still in there? I thought there was 10 plagues in Egypt. Well, there were. And right after the Exodus, the following day, Pharaoh told Moses to get the people out of the land, that they were free to leave. Okay, but what happened that week? A few days later, after the children of Israel had left Egypt, Pharaoh changed his mind, and he regretted letting the children of Israel leave, because remember, that was his slave labor. and Egypt is now in ruins, and he has to rebuild it, and there's nobody to rebuild. So he has a change of heart. He hardens his heart one last time, and he decides to pursue the children of Israel down to where they were at. Now they were right at the border of the Red Sea, or the Reed Sea, as it's commonly known. And so, as they go to the edge of the sea, they encamp right by the sea, and that area there, as you can see a picture of this actually in my book, The Heavens Declare. There was actually they were in a valley, and there was two cliffs on either side, and in front of them was the sea, the Red Sea, and behind them is Pharaoh's army pursuing them, ready to slaughter them, bring some of them back, and chase the ones who did not want to go back into the sea. So what happens? God's wrath is not finished pouring out on the Egyptians. So for this week, until the date 4, let's see here, 4/9/4/10, Jupiter effectively leaves Aquarius, finishing his wrath on the Egyptians. And it was at this point that all the Egyptian army was drowned, as God parted the Red Sea for the Israelites to walk through on dry land. And right after they crossed, God finished pouring out his wrath on the Egyptians and closed up the Red Sea. And by 410, the king was finished with his wrath on the Egyptians, and the Israelites were on their way to the promised land.